Hello and welcome to Chicago Lawyer Magazine's Inside Out. I'm Andy Shaw, former political editor of ABC7 and now president and CEO of the Better Government Association. We're taping this segment at Pettorino's, a Lettuce Entertain You restaurant at Randolph and Dearborn in Chicago, so thank you to the Lettuce folks for hosting us. I'm joined by our Inside Out team, David Susler. He's Associate General Counsel at National Material LP. He has the inside view. And Tina Martini, partner at DLA Piper and a member of the BGA board. She has the outside perspective. Each month we'll look at a different aspect of the law from the differing perspectives of this husband and wife team. And today we're talking about hiring outside counsel. So David, since you're the inside guy, let me ask you, what do you look for when you hire an outside counsel?
Well, I look for a number of different things. First, of course, and most important, is substantive expertise. And then beyond that, I look for a number of matters. First, I have to set the context of what the engagement is going to be about. You know, what's the dollar value of the engagement? How important it is to our company? Is there a geographic component so that site location is important for the attorney? And then, of course, I will look at things like a prior relationship with that attorney. I always look for an attorney who is creative and proactive. And the weight of any of those may change depending on the nature of the matter, but that's kind of in a nutshell the important things I look for first.
So Tina, if you are retained, you have to work on occasion with inside counsel, probably not David, unlikely that you end up working in a husband-wife relationship, although maybe.
It has happened.
How do you balance the relationship with the inside counsel, the parceling out of responsibility, and some of the territorial issues that obviously come up when you're brought in on a fee basis from the outside, and this individual is a member of the staff?
Well, that's a great question, and it really depends on the client. Sometimes we work with an in-house counsel like David, other times we work with business folks. And it really depends on the level of comfort and what the client wants. And I really try to let the client drive it as much as possible. Sometimes they look for suggestions in terms of how to allocate the work. It depends on what kind of resources the in-house attorney has, because sometimes they have a really sizable team that's sophisticated, that's able to take a lot of the work in-house. Other times they're very deferential, and depending on the subject matter expertise of the team in-house, sometimes they don't have the expertise, even though they may have a significantly sized group. So I really let the client drive it, and sometimes it depends also on how familiar the client is. Sometimes we have a new relationship, sometimes we have one that's been pre-existing for a number of years. So I really kind of let the client drive it and go with what they're comfortable with. Sometimes also it may be driven by how much money the client has in the budget. They may be forced, depending on how much money they have allocated to a particular matter, they may be forced to do a good chunk of it in-house. Other times they may have a relatively large budget for more of the bet the company type of matters, where they may have a lot of money allocated to outside counsel spend, in which case they may say, we'd like you and your team to run with it.
Is there ever a time when you'd say no to someone who is asking you to join them because it doesn't feel right? Maybe the inside counsel doesn't look like a good fit with you, or it just doesn't look like the right job, or are those things always, yes, we take the business?
We generally take the business, but we're very careful about making sure that ultimately we take on matters where the clients are going to get what they're looking for. And on occasion, I do have a referral network that I will look to on occasion when we think that the client may be better served working, for example, with a smaller firm, just to make sure that the expectations that the client or potential client has align with what we're able to do. And if for whatever reason we aren't there geographically, or we don't have the subject matter expertise, there's certain areas like divorce, for example, that we just, in family law, that we don't do really any of. So we will end up referring that to other folks.
And David, how important is it for you to have a good working relationship with the outside counsel? I guess by that I mean, would you be more likely to go back to the same people with whom you've worked well, or would you want to sort of spread it around and try different people, the relationship part versus just going out into the field?
No, the relationship part is critical. If I have a good working relationship built up over time with an outside counsel, I'm more likely to go to them first. There are times when that won't work. There may be a conflict. Kind of the philosophy of my company is we do like to spread around work if we can, but that relationship is critical. And whether it's new outside counsel or long-time outside counsel, you've got to have that connection on really, it almost on a personal level. You don't have to be friends, but you have to connect. You have to have a very comfortable working relationship.
And at the end of the day, this is business on both ends. So when you look for outside counsel, how important is it to check the billing rates and what it's going to end up costing you versus the importance of getting the job done well?
Well, I mean, you know, we're business, and billing rates and the matter budget are always important. But my first and most important interest in hiring outside counsel is substantive expertise. That's what I look for first, is substantive expertise. Because if I have the right attorney and the right relationship, especially like you say, when you've got a long-term relationship, you know the value of the representation that you're getting. So it's never simply a dollar amount. It's not just the billable hour that's going to dictate. You know, if I've got a matter that's worth $50,000 or a matter that's worth $5 million, then the billing rate's going to be implicated, but again, it's never the sole determinator.
And Tina, you mentioned billing rates in your previous answer, so let this be the final word. How important is the ability of a client to truly meet what could be high rates and a lot of time and labor-intensive work? At the end of the day, you send a bill, you need a check in the mail, and that's got to be a consideration.
Well, billing rates is just one part of the value equation. It's really about having a conversation with clients from the beginning, at the front end of a matter, to figure out what their budget is, but also really to get into their minds as to how they define value. Depending on the matter, it may not really be of as much significance as it would be with another matter. The billing rates is just one part of the equation. You have to look at the subject matter expertise, as David mentioned. Sometimes you may have somebody who has a higher billing rate than someone else, but they may be able to do the task 4 times faster, in which case at the end of the day, the person who has the higher billing rate can get it done much more inexpensively than somebody who has a lower billing rate. So I think at the end of the day, it's about communicating with the client, what is their budget, and how do they define value, are alternative fees an option, and just really having an open dialogue about it.
Okay, David Susler, Tina Martini, our maiden voyage. Hopefully the people who've been watching have not been too disappointed. I was a political reporter, so I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just sort of wading through here best I can. But if you thought it was okay, we'll try it one more time. In fact, we are going to do maximizing success next month. This has been Inside Out. I'm Andy Shaw. Thanks for watching.